Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we got a report about the Minnesota Vikings draft process, and they are going to change it for 2026 compared to past years. And then also, the Vikings have a lot of top 30 visits in the building over the next couple of days, so just want to go through a tracker on the back end. But if you guys are excited for the 2026 NFL Draft, go down there, smash that thumbs up icon for us. I can't wait. It's going to be a massive draft for the Minnesota Vikings, and it's going to be a lot of fun to cover. So if you guys are excited as well, go down there, hit that thumbs up icon. So it's Matt Miller of ESPN who was talking about the Vikings draft process, and he said he was hearing that they're going to change their process. He said the Vikings must hit at a higher rate on day two picks. And with that in mind, I've heard the team will target players with higher college production over potential or traits. Now, in my opinion, this report coming out, maybe this is just what Matt Miller is hearing, and maybe he didn't mean for this to feel like a shot at former Vikings general manager Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, but that is what this feels like. Where it's like Kwesi in the past drafts, he was always banking on guys who had the high upside, really good physical traits over production over the last couple of seasons. But also, I feel like the Vikings have made a lot of picks where it's felt like production over traits during the past three drafts. Like Jordan Addison, I felt like was the perfect definition of that, where he won the Blendikoff Award in college football. He had 1,700 yards receiving in his second to last year at college. And also at USC, he was an insanely productive wide receiver. And Addison, obviously not being a huge physical traits guy, like he ran about a 4.5, had decent testing numbers at the combine. But like what sold the Vikings on Jordan Addison was his route running ability, his separation at his hand. So Addison was a production draft pick over a traits draft pick. But then you start thinking about guys like Tyron Ingram-Dawkins, even a Kobe King from this past year's draft, Gavin Bartholomew. A countless number of guys are considered trait drafts over production drafts. So the Vikings are just going to change their tune this year. But speaking about the Vikings needing the nail on day two picks, they have to. The Vikings have been horrible on day two of the NFL draft since 2022. Andrew Booth Jr., he was traded for Nashawn Wright 2 offseasons ago. Ed Ingram, you traded him for a 6th-round pick last offseason. He actually went to the Houston Texans and got a whole lot better. You cut Brian Asamoah this past season, and then Mekhi Blackman, you traded him for 2 6th-round picks last offseason in 2024 because of the TJ Hawkinson trade and them trading future draft capital. Did not have any selections there. And this past season, Ty Felton, with one of the last picks in the 3rd round, he was just a glorified gunner for this team. Now, jury's still out on Ty Felton if he can be a solid wide receiver in the NFL, but still, point being, the day two of the NFL draft has not been friendly to the Minnesota Vikings, and the Vikings, with how they're set up right now, they can't afford another disastrous draft. Like, if we leave this draft here at the end of April and we don't at least have 3 to 4, maybe not starters, like you should at least leave this draft with 1 or 2 starters, with him having 4 picks in the top 100, but you should be trying to nail 1 to 2 starters, 3 to 4 players who can make an impact, whether that's special teams or just being a rotational player defensively or offensively. But if they have a bad draft this upcoming April, like it could be really rough and really tough sledding for the Vikings moving forward, because this team, I think there's a lot of top end talent. Like you got the blue chippers like Jefferson, Darisaw, Grenard, Dallas Turner. Like there's a lot of top end talent. And honestly, their whole starting unit on both sides of the ball, you're feeling comfortable about most of these positions, but depth wise, the Vikings have 0 depth. And that's why we saw this team last year when they did catch the injury bug, they weren't able to overcome it because they had no depth. And I think when the team has a ton of depth, it reflects on them being a good drafting team. That just hasn't been the Minnesota Vikings. And once these guys leave, like potentially Grenard, Cashman, Van Ginkel, if you can't nail a lot of these draft picks, like we could be looking at the Vikings in 2-3 years from now, if you have another bad draft, as one of the more shaky rosters in the NFL. So this draft is absolutely huge. So if you guys want the Vikes to nail the 2026 NFL Draft, get it going down below in the comments section. Let me see those skulls down below. It needs to happen. And if you guys want it to happen, just give me a skull down below. I'll talk about top 30 visits here in a second, and also want to highlight one wide receiver I'm really interested in the Vikings drafting here in a second. But I want to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Factor Meals. Now, if you guys head to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off, and use promo code VikingsChat50 off. We'll hook you guys up with 50% off and free daily greens box per box with new subscription only while supplies last until 9/27/2026. Now, imagine hunger strikes and you're exhausted. and there's something healthy for you in your fridge or pantry that you should be making, but you just don't have it into. For me, eating healthy isn't a willpower problem. It's a setup problem until I found Factor and they completely changed my life and how I eat every single day. With Factor, I'm hitting my nutrition goals this season without the planning, grocery runs, or cooking. Factor has meals built around your goals, whether that's weight loss, overall nutrition, more protein, or GLP-1 support for strength and recovery. Check out Factor's Muscle Pro collection, and every meal is crafted with functional ingredients. You got lean proteins, colorful veggies, whole foods, and healthy fats as well. And they're fresh, never frozen. They have over 100 rotating weekly meals, including globally inspired flavors like Mediterranean and Asian. So there's always something new to look forward to. So head on over to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off. Plug in promo code VikingsChat50 off to get 50% off and free daily greens per box with new subscription only while supplies last until 9/27/2026. That's September 27th, 2026. See the website for more details, but click that link down below in the comment section and description of today's show. All right, let's talk about the Vikings' top 30 visits here. So a lot of wide receivers on the first list here. You got Ted Hurst, Georgia State, got some good speed. Really like Ted Hurst, and he's also flying up draft boards. A lot of the top teams in the NFL, like the Rams, are meeting with him. The Chiefs are meeting with him. Like, he could be somebody who's supposed to go round 4 or 5, could potentially go day 2 in round 3. You also got Stribling out of Mississippi State. Really like him. He tested very well at the combine. Now, the thing is with Stribling, when he watches tape, I feel like you don't see his combine results out there on the field, which is a little bit of a negative. You got C.J. Daniels. We'll touch on him here. Then you got my guy, Emmett Johnson, Jonah Coleman there as well from the Minnesota Vikings. But let's talk about C.J. Daniels here. So C.J. Daniels, this guy's a big play machine, and he's a highlight machine. Now, if you guys remember from Miami, they had their opening night against Notre Dame, and he had one of the most ridiculous one-handed catches I have ever seen. This is it right here. It is just flat out insane. It was to score a touchdown as well. And I think if you put his highlights up there with even the Carnell Tates, the Jordan Tysons, the Mekhi Lemons of this year's draft, he can go toe for toe with all of these guys. Like, I absolutely love C.J. Daniels. He could be somebody the Vikings could take, maybe round 5, maybe round 6 if he gets there, but watch out for C.J. Daniels. I really like him. Got some juice around his name as well heading into the draft. But some more top 30 visits here for the Vikings. Damon Claiborne, running back out of Wake Forest. Got some juice with them. Good top-end speed. You got Oscar Delpa, tight end. Good separation ability. Just a solid inline tight end. I don't think his ceiling is as high as other guys, but his floor is extremely high. You got Tristan Lane, offensive tackle. The Vikings could be looking at an offensive tackle of the future with some uncertainty around Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill getting older. You also got Lance Mason, another tight end, and then Mason Reiger, another edge rusher, as the Vikings are always trying to add depth to that edge group. But you also got Dominique Orange out of Iowa State, the big fella in the interior. I think his nickname I've seen thrown out there is like the Big Squeeze, which is just absolutely awesome. Elite nickname there. But the Vikings definitely need to add more talent on the defensive line. Love Jalen Redmond. You love Levi Drake Rodriguez, all of these guys. But Dominique Orange, big body, big interior run stuffer, creates lanes for linebackers at a high level. You got Anthony Hill, pick 49. Watch out for him. Good coverage linebacker. You also got Jake Golday, another linebacker out of Cincinnati. More downhill, struggles a little bit in coverage. But both these guys, Golday probably more of a round 3 pick, but Anthony Hill more round 2. I could watch out for those guys being Minnesota Vikings on day 2 of the NFL draft. But you guys get down to the comment section, plant your flag with one of these prospects. Name a Vikings draft sleeper that you absolutely love, and maybe we'll do a video on him here in the future. But get down in the comment section. I'll see you guys next time. As always, let's go Vikes.